Dae-hyun Kim rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the communication console. Something was wrong. The lights that usually blinked with messages from the frontier colonies were dark. All of them. "That's not possible," he muttered to himself. The Polaris orbital station hummed around him, its white walls and bright lights a stark contrast to the darkness of space outside the viewport. Dae-hyun checked the system again. No errors, no technical failures, just silence from 5 different human colonies, including Nexus, where his sister worked. The door to the communications room slid open with a soft hiss. "Chief Engineer Kim, you're still here. Your shift ended 3 hours ago," said Captain Jae-hyun Park as she floated into the room, her movements graceful in the low gravity. Dae-hyun pointed at the console. "Captain, we have a problem. All communication with the frontier colonies has stopped." Jae-hyun frowned and pushed herself closer to look at the screen. "All of them? At once?" "Yes. No responses for the past 8 hours." Jae-hyun's expression relaxed. "It's probably just solar flare activity. Happens every few months." "Not like this," Dae-hyun insisted. "Not all 5 colonies at the same time. And the system shows no solar disturbances in any of those sectors." Jae-hyun placed a hand on his shoulder. "Dae-hyun, I know you're worried about Hannah, but she's fine. These outages happen. Get some rest, and I'm sure by morning the channels will be active again." Dae-hyun wanted to argue, but he knew the captain was right about one thing. He was tired. He'd been on duty for nearly 16 hours straight. "Fine, but wake me if anything changes." Back in his small quarters, Dae-hyun couldn't sleep. His sister Hannah was the only family he had left. She had taken the job on Nexus 3 years ago to study the planet's unusual wildlife. They spoke at least once a week. His personal tablet beeped. A message. Dae-hyun grabbed it quickly, hoping it was from Hannah. It was. The message was encrypted, which was strange. Hannah never sent encrypted messages. It had been sent nearly 10 hours ago, just before communications went dark. Dae-hyun entered his security key and opened it. The message contained only 2 words: "War cats." Dae-hyun stared at the screen. War cats? What did that mean? He tried to reply, but the system showed no connection available. The station's alarm suddenly blared to life, its harsh sound making Dae-hyun jump. He grabbed his uniform jacket and rushed back to the command center. The normally calm space was now filled with frantic activity as crew members moved between stations. "What's happening?" Dae-hyun asked a passing technician. "Distress signal from Nexus," the woman replied without stopping. Dae-hyun's heart raced as he pushed his way to the main communication console. Jae-hyun was already there, her face pale as she listened to something through her headset. "Play it on the main speaker," Dae-hyun demanded. Jae-hyun looked at him, then nodded to the communications officer. A crackling sound filled the room, followed by a voice. Hannah's voice. She sounded out of breath, frightened. "This is Dr. Hannah Kim of Nexus Colony. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. They came without warning. They move in silence. They." Her voice cut off suddenly, replaced by a sound that made everyone in the room freeze. It wasn't quite a growl, not exactly a purr, something in between, low and rumbling, that seemed to vibrate through the bones rather than the ears. Then silence. Complete silence. Dae-hyun tried the controls, tried to re-establish connection, tried everything he knew. But the link was dead. "Captain," he said, his voice shaking, "we need to send help." Jae-hyun's face was grim. "Prepare a rescue team. We leave in 6 hours." As the crew scrambled to prepare, Dae-hyun remembered his sister's message. War cats. Whatever they were, Hannah had tried to warn them. And now it might be too late. 3 months earlier, Hannah Kim crouched near the edge of Nexus Colony's fence. The morning sun cast long shadows across the grassy plains. Hannah touched the strange marks in the dirt. They looked like paw prints, but not from any animal she had seen before. "What did you find?" Tai-Ho Lee asked, walking up behind her. Tai-Ho was her research partner, a tall man with kind eyes. "Look at these tracks," Hannah said, pointing. "They form a perfect line. See how they're all the same distance apart." Tai-Ho knelt beside her. "Maybe it's just one of the local animals." Hannah shook her head. "No animal walks this way. These are two, orderly, like a soldier marching." She took pictures of the prints with her datapad. This was the third set of strange tracks she had found this week. All of them near the colony fence. All of them in perfect lines. "I'm going to show these to Kyung-Soo," she decided. Kyung-Soo Park was the colony's security officer. His office was small and neat. Pictures of Earth hung on the walls. "So you found animal tracks," Kyung-Soo said after looking at Hannah's pictures. "That's not unusual. We're on an alien planet." "These aren't normal tracks," Hannah insisted. "They show intelligence, planning. Whatever made them was studying our fence." Kyung-Soo sighed. "Fine, I'll send more guards to patrol at night, but I think you're seeing problems where there aren't any." Hannah left, frustrated. Back in her lab, she began searching through the colony's database. Nexus wasn't the first human colony in this part of space. There had been others. Hours passed as she read old reports. Then she found something. A report from Colony Terra Nova, established 30 years ago. Now abandoned. Day 45. Security reports unusual tracks around the perimeter. Perfect straight lines. No known species moves like this. Day 52. Still no visual contact with whatever is making the tracks. Some colonists report hearing strange sounds at night, like purring, but deeper. Day 60. First visual contact with the creatures. They move like shadows, feline in appearance. The security team has nicknamed them war cats because of their organized movements, like a military unit. Hannah's hands shook as she continued reading. Day 65. Last transmission. They're inside the colony. We didn't hear them until... The report ended there. Hannah checked the colony records. Terra Nova went silent shortly after. The official report said it was due to equipment failure. Hannah looked up more abandoned colonies. The pattern was the same. Strange tracks. Sounds in the night. Then silence. She needed more information. She downloaded all the data onto a secure drive and went to find Tai-Ho. She found him in the biology lab, studying plant samples. "Tai-Ho, I need your help," she said. "We need to set up cameras around the fence and audio recorders, high-sensitivity ones." Tai-Ho looked confused. "Why? What did you find?" "I think we're being hunted," Hannah said. That night, they placed cameras and audio equipment at 10 spots around the colony. Hannah couldn't sleep. She kept checking the feeds on her datapad. Nothing unusual appeared. The next morning, all the equipment was gone, vanished without a trace. "This isn't possible," Tai-Ho said as they stood where one camera should have been. "There's not even a footprint." But Hannah knew better now. "They don't leave prints unless they want to," she said quietly. Kyung-Soo was more concerned when Hannah told him about the missing equipment. "I'll request an emergency communication with Earth," he promised. "We should get some advice." But the communication arrays seemed to be having problems. Messages weren't going through. That night, Hannah stayed up late in her lab. She sent an encrypted message to her brother on Polaris Station with just 2 words: "War cats." She hoped he would understand and send help. As she pressed send, she heard it, a sound just at the edge of hearing, like a deep purr that vibrated through the walls rather than the air. Hannah froze. She wasn't imagining it. They were here, and no one had heard them coming until it was too late. "Captain, we need to go now," Da-hyun said, checking his equipment one last time. The rescue ship was small but fast. It could reach Nexus in 3 days. Captain Jae-hyun nodded. "The team is ready." Da-hyun looked at the 3 other crew members chosen for the mission. Junho Choi was a combat specialist, his face serious as he checked his weapons. Yunji Kang was the team's medic, her medical kit already strapped to her back. Woo Jin-yoon was the communications expert, busy testing a portable signal booster. Remember, Jae-yun told them, this is a rescue mission. We go in, find out what happened, and get out. No heroes. The ship detached from Polaris Station with a gentle push. Soon they were flying through space, stars streaking past the windows. Da-hyun spent most of his time staring at his sister's message. War cats. He had searched the database, but found nothing. We'll find her, Yunji said, sitting next to him on the 3rd day. Her voice was kind. I know, Da-hyun said, but he wasn't sure. The ship's alert system beeped. They were approaching Nexus. Entering orbit now, Jae-yun announced from the pilot's seat. Woo Jin, try to contact the colony. Woo Jin worked at his console. No response on any channel. But wait, he adjusted some controls. I'm picking up a very weak signal. It's coming from the research outpost on the north side of the colony. That's Hannah's lab, Da-hyun said, hope in his voice. Jae-yun studied the scans of the planet. Defense systems are offline. No signs of damage from space. Whatever happened, it wasn't an attack from orbit. Or it was something that didn't leave marks, Da-hyun said quietly. Junho checked his rifle. We should assume hostile forces are present. Agreed, Jae-yun said. We'll land at night. Less chance of being spotted. As the ship descended through the atmosphere of Nexus, Da-hyun watched the colony come into view on the screen. It looked peaceful. The buildings were intact. The lights were even still on in some places. This doesn't make sense, Yunji said, looking at the screen. If there was an attack, where's the damage? Maybe it wasn't that kind of attack, Da-hyun replied. The ship landed softly in a field near the colony's main entrance. Night had fallen, and the 3 moons of Nexus cast a pale light over the landscape. Suits on, Jae-yun ordered. Full environmental protection until we know it's safe. They put on their protective suits and gathered by the airlock. Junho took point, rifle ready. Jae-yun followed, then Yunji and Woo Jin. Da-hyun went last, his hand shaking slightly as he checked his oxygen levels. The airlock opened with a hiss. Cool night air rushed in. The team stepped onto the surface of Nexus for the first time. Air readings are normal, Yunji reported, checking her scanner. No toxins or pathogens detected. Keep your helmets on anyway, Jae-yun ordered. They moved toward the colony gates. The metal doors stood open, which was against all protocols. Something forced its way in, Junho suggested, examining the gates. Da-hyun shook his head. No damage. Someone opened them from inside. They walked through the gates into the empty streets of the colony. Lights flickered in buildings. A vehicle sat in the middle of the road, its door open and engine still humming. It's like everyone just left, Woo Jin whispered. Or was taken, Junho added. We need to check Hannah's lab, Da-hyun said. It's where the signal is coming from. They moved through the silent colony, senses alert for any danger. But there was nothing. No people, no bodies, just empty buildings. None of them noticed the pairs of glowing eyes watching from the shadows between buildings. Eyes that blinked slowly as they tracked the team's movement. Eyes attached to forms that moved without making a sound. The war cats watched and waited, their bodies blending perfectly with the darkness. And in the silence of the colony, not one member of the rescue team heard them coming. This is wrong, Junho said as they walked through the empty dining hall of the colony. Food sat on tables, half-eaten. Cups were still filled with drinks. People don't just leave in the middle of a meal. Da-hyun touched a coffee cup. Still warm, he said. Whatever happened, it was recent. The team moved carefully through the colony, checking each building. There were no signs of fighting. No blood. No bodies. Just emptiness where there should have been 500 people. The signal is stronger now, Wu Jin said, checking his device. Hannah's lab is just ahead. The research building stood at the edge of the colony. Unlike the other buildings, its door was locked. She barricaded herself in, Da-hyun said, hope rising in his chest. He entered his sister's birthday into the keypad. The door slid open. The lab inside was a mess. Papers were scattered everywhere. Screens were cracked. Equipment lay broken on the floor. Someone fought here, Junho said, rifle raised as he scanned the room. Hannah, Da-hyun called. No answer. Eun-ji pointed to a desk in the corner. Look, a computer was still running. Its screen showed a blinking message. Emergency data backup complete. Next to it lay a small device, the source of the weak signal they had detected from orbit. Da-hyun rushed to the computer. She left this for us, he said, typing commands. She knew someone would come looking. Files appeared on the screen. Research notes, videos, data on something Hannah had been studying. Play the last video file, Jae-yun ordered. Hannah's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired, afraid. If you're watching this, then you got my message, she said. I don't have much time. They're in the colony now. The war cats aren't just animals. They're intelligent, highly intelligent. They hunt in packs, using perfect silence as their weapon. By the time you hear them, it's too late. Hannah looked over her shoulder at something off-screen. I've downloaded everything I learned about them. They'd been hunting human colonies for years. They don't leave survivors. They don't take prisoners. They just take people. She leaned closer to the camera. Don't trust anything you see here. They can mimic. They can. A sound came from off-camera. Hannah's eyes widened. The video ended. What did she mean by mimic? Eun-ji asked, her voice shaking. Da-hyun opened more files. These are her research notes, he said. He began reading out loud. The war cats aren't natural predators. They're too perfect. Their ability to move without sound defies physics. Their hunting patterns show signs of advanced tactical thinking. He scrolled down further. Most worrying is their ability to adapt. Each encounter with humans teaches them. They learn our weaknesses. They study us before they strike. We need to take this data and leave, Jae-yun said firmly. Now, Da-hyun downloaded the files onto a portable drive. As the data transferred, he noticed one file labeled Sonic Mapping Test. He opened it. It showed a map of the colony with dozens of moving dots outside the walls. The dots moved in perfect formation, surrounding the colony from all sides. What is this? Jae-yun asked. Looking at the map, Hannah created some kind of sonic mapping device. Da-hyun explained. It detects movements too quiet for human ears. Junho pointed at the screen. Those dots, are they? War cats, Da-hyun confirmed. This was recorded yesterday. Night had fallen outside. The team looked at each other, the same thought in all their minds. If that many war cats had surrounded the colony yesterday, where were they now? We need to secure a location for the night, Jae-yun decided. The command center has the strongest doors. As they prepared to leave the lab, Junho suddenly froze. Did you hear that? He whispered. Everyone stopped moving. In the silence, they heard it. A soft scratching sound, like claws on metal, coming from the air vent above their heads. The team stared at the air vent. The scratching sound stopped. Move. Now, Jae-yun ordered in a whisper. They grabbed Hannah's data and ran from the lab. The hallways were dark now. Junho led the way, his rifle light cutting through the darkness. They reached the command center and sealed the heavy doors behind them. Set up a watch rotation, Jae-yun said. 2 people awake at all times. Da-hyun couldn't sleep. He spent the night studying Hannah's research files. The more he read, the more afraid he became. Morning came. Sunlight filtered through the windows of the command center. Wu Jin, Yunjai called out suddenly, "Where's Wu Jin?" Everyone looked around. The communications expert was gone. "He was on watch with me," Junho said, his face pale. "He said he heard something and went to check the next room. I thought he came back." "When?" Jia demanded. "About an hour ago." They searched the command center. In a small side room, they found a few drops of blood on the floor. The window was open. "How did something get in without us hearing?" Yunji asked, her voice shaking. "That's what they do," Dahyun said. "Hannah's notes explain it. They don't just move silently. They somehow absorb sound around them." Junho checked his rifle. "We need to hunt them before they hunt more of us." "No," Dahyun said firmly. "That's exactly what we shouldn't do. Hannah's research shows conventional weapons don't work well against them. Their skin absorbs impacts." "Then what do we do?" Jae-hyun asked. Dahyun held up a small device he had found among Hannah's things. "This is what she was working on. A sonic mapper. It sends out sounds we can't hear, but can detect the echoes when they bounce off objects. It can show us where the war cats are, even when they're being silent." He turned on the device. A holographic display appeared above it, showing a map of the colony and the area around it. Dozens of red dots appeared on the map. Some were in the colony. Most were outside, forming a perfect circle around the buildings. "There are so many," Yunji whispered. "They're hunting us," Junho said. One dot was moving away from the colony, into the forest beyond. "That one might be taking Wu Jin somewhere," Dahyun said, pointing to the moving dot. "We need to follow it," Junho insisted. "No," Jae-hyun said. "Our mission is to gather information and return to Polaris Station. We need to warn Earth about this threat." "But Wu Jin," Junho started. "Might already be dead," Jae-hyun finished. Her face was sad but determined. "We can't risk everyone for one person." "Captain's right," Dahyun said. "But I think I know how we can do both." He showed them more of Hannah's research. She was studying their behavior patterns. "The war cats don't just kill. They take people alive." "Why?" Yunji asked. "Hannah thought they were studying us," Dahyun explained. "Learning about us. She theorized they're an advanced species that evolves by understanding and copying other life forms." "You mean they're taking people to learn from them?" Jae-hyun asked. "Yes, and that means Wu Jin might still be alive. And maybe the colonists too." Dahyun pointed to a large structure at the edge of the map. Hannah's notes mention a strange formation in the hills north of the colony. She thought it might be the war cat's base. It's where they take people. "We should split up," Junho suggested. "Some of us go there. Others try to fix the colony's communication array to send a message to Earth." "No," Jae-hyun said firmly. "We stay together." "But," Junho began. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the command center. Warning lights flashed red. "What's happening?" Yunji shouted over the noise. Dahyun checked the control panel. "Someone's accessing the colony's main systems from outside. They're shutting down the power grid." The lights flickered. The sonic mapper's display showed all the red dots now moving toward the command center. "They're coming," Dahyun said, his voice steady despite his fear. "All of them." "We need to run," Junho said, checking his rifle. "There's no time," Jae-hyun replied, looking at the sonic mapper. The red dots were moving fast. "We need another way out." Dahyun studied the command center layout on a wall screen. "There's a maintenance tunnel under this building. It leads to the communication tower." "Perfect," Jae-hyun said. "We can send a warning to Earth and escape at the same time." They found the entrance to the tunnel in a storage room. Junho pulled open the heavy metal door in the floor. A ladder led down into darkness. "I'll go first," he said, climbing down. One by one, they'd followed. Yunji went next, then Jae-hyun. Dahyun went last, holding the sonic mapper. The red dots were now inside the command center. The tunnel was narrow and dark. Their flashlights cast long shadows on the metal walls. They moved quickly, following the tunnel's path on Da-hyun's tablet. The communication tower should be just ahead, Da-hyun whispered after 10 minutes of walking. The tunnel ended at another ladder. Jun-ho climbed up and pushed open the hatch above. They emerged in a small room filled with communication equipment. "This is the relay station," Da-hyun explained. "We can send a message from here." Jae-hyun looked out a small window. "We're about half a kilometer from the main colony buildings. The tower is just outside." While Da-hyun worked on the equipment, Jun-ho kept watch at the window. Yeonji tended to a cut on Jae-hyun's arm that she had gotten climbing through the tunnel. "Almost done," Da-hyun said, typing commands into the system. "I'm preparing a data package with all of Hannah's research. We need to warn Earth about what these things can do." A sound came from a closet at the back of the room. Everyone froze. Jun-ho aimed his rifle at the closet door. "Something's in there." Jae-hyun drew her pistol. "Open it." Jun-ho stepped forward and pulled open the door. Woo Jin sat inside, his back against the wall. He looked up at them with a blank expression. "Woo Jin," Yeonji exclaimed. "You're alive." She moved toward him, but Da-hyun grabbed her arm. "Wait, something's wrong." Woo Jin stood up slowly. His movements were stiff, unnatural. A thin metal device was attached to the back of his neck. "Hello, friends," he said. His voice was flat. "I've been waiting for you." "What happened to you?" Jae-hyun asked, keeping her distance. "I've been improved," Woo Jin replied. "The Shadowed Ones have shown me the truth." "The Shadowed Ones," Da-hyun repeated. "You call them Warcats," Woo Jin said. "An inaccurate name. They are the Shadowed Ones, advanced scouts for the great empire beyond the stars." As Woo Jin spoke, something moved behind him in the closet. A large, dark shape unfolded itself from the shadows. It stepped into the light. The Warcat stood nearly 2 meters tall on its hind legs. Its body was covered in black fur that seemed to absorb light. Its face was feline but with intelligent eyes that glowed green in the dim room. No one had heard it there. It had been in the room the whole time. "Don't shoot," Woo Jin said as Jun-ho raised his rifle. "They'd want to talk." The Warcat placed a clawed hand on Woo Jin's shoulder. When it spoke, its voice came from Woo Jin's mouth. "Your kind interests us," it said through Woo Jin. "You are not like the others we have found. You have unpredictability." "What have you done with the colonists?" Jae-hyun demanded. "They have been processed," the Warcat said through Woo Jin. "Their knowledge added to ours. Their bodies repurposed." "You killed them," Jun-ho growled. "No," Woo Jin's head shook. "They are part of us now. As your friend is. As your sister is," it added, looking at Da-hyun. Da-hyun felt cold fear grip his heart. "Hannah is alive." "In a way," the Warcat replied. "Her mind has given us much. She is the one who told us you would come. She is the one who showed us how to find you." The door behind them suddenly opened. More Warcats entered the room, moving in perfect silence. With them was a human woman, Hannah. But when she looked at Da-hyun, her eyes glowed green like the Warcats. "Hannah," Da-hyun whispered. His sister smiled, but it wasn't her smile. It was cold and empty. "Hello, brother," she said. Her voice sounded wrong. "I'm glad you came. Now you can join us too." Jun-ho raised his rifle, aiming first at the Warcat, then at Hannah, unsure what to do. "Don't," Jae-hyun warned. "They're using them as shields." The Warcat that controlled Woo Jin stepped forward. "Your weapons cannot harm us. We absorb energy and sound. We move between your heartbeats. We are perfect hunters." "What do you want?" Da-hyun asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "To understand you," the Warcat replied through Woo Jin. "Humans are different. Your minds work in ways we cannot predict. This makes you dangerous. This makes you valuable." Dahyun's mind raced. Hannah's research had mentioned this. The war cats feared unpredictability. They valued order and silence. Human emotions confused them. If you find us so interesting, why not just talk to us? Yunji asked. Why attack? We do not attack, the war cat said. We improve. We add your uniqueness to our own. As they talked, Dahyun noticed Jaeyun slowly moving toward a control panel near the wall. Her eyes met his briefly. She had a plan. Your sister resisted the longest, the war cat continued. Her mind was chaotic, full of emotions we could not easily process. It took many attempts to properly connect her. Dahyun looked at Hannah. Was there anything of his sister still inside? Hannah, he said gently, remember when we were kids. Remember the day we built that treehouse and you fell and broke your arm. You didn't cry. You laughed because you said the ground jumped up to catch you. Something flickered in Hannah's eyes. For just a second, the green glow dimmed. The war cat controlling Wu Jin hissed. Stop this. Memories are irrelevant now. But Dahyun saw it. Emotions. The war cats couldn't handle human emotions. They were too unpredictable, too chaotic. Hannah had written about this in her notes. They preferred silence and order. Human emotions were like noise to them. Jaeyun had reached the control panel. Now, she shouted, and slammed her hand down on a button. The station's emergency alarm blared, louder than any sound Dahyun had ever heard. The war cats shrieked, their perfect formations breaking as they covered their ears. Junho fired his rifle, hitting 2 war cats. They stumbled back but didn't fall. Run, Jaeyun ordered. They ran, pushing past the disoriented war cats. Hannah tried to grab Dahyun's arm, but he pulled away. It wasn't his sister anymore. They raced through the colony, the alarm still blaring. Dahyun led them to the environmental control center. What are we doing here? Yunji asked, breathing hard. Hannah's research, Dahyun explained. She found their weakness. They can't handle chaos. Human emotions confuse them. So, Junho asked, keeping his rifle aimed at the door. So we give them more than they can handle, Dahyun said, working quickly at the control panel. The colony has atmospheric processors that regulate the air. Hannah was developing a compound that amplifies emotional responses. A drug? Jaeyun asked, concerned. Not exactly. It enhances what's already there. Makes emotions stronger, less predictable. She was testing it as a way to disrupt the war cat's hive mind. Dahyun found the formula in Hannah's files and began programming the atmospheric processors to produce it. It might work on the processed humans too, he added. Might help them break free. Outside, they could hear movement. The war cats were coming. How long will this take? Jaeyun asked, checking her pistol's charge. 10 minutes to synthesize the compound. Then it will spread through the colony's air system, Dahyun said. Junho took position by the door. We might not have 10 minutes. The door burst open. War cats poured in, moving in their unnervingly silent way. Behind them came Wu Jin, Hannah, and other colonists, all with glowing green eyes. Keep them busy, Dahyun shouted, working frantically at the controls. Junho fired, forcing the war cats to dodge. Jaeyun overturned tables to create cover. Yunji grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed it at the advancing enemies, creating a cloud of white mist. It was chaos, and in that chaos, Dahyun saw the war cats' movements becoming less certain, less coordinated. The compound was their only hope now. Almost done, Dahyun shouted over the sounds of fighting. His fingers flew across the control panel as the system processed Hannah's compound. Junho fired his rifle, keeping the war cats at bay. Hurry, we can't hold them much longer. A war cat leaped over the barricade, moving so fast it was just a black blur. It knocked Jaeyun to the ground. She fought back, but the creature was too strong. Yunji grabbed a metal pipe and swung it at the war cat. The blow landed, but the creature barely noticed. It turned toward her, eyes glowing. 3 more minutes. Dahyun called, watching the progress bar on screen. Another warcat entered the room, pushing Hannah in front of it like a shield. Junho couldn't shoot without hitting her. Dahyun, Hannah said, her voice flat. Stop what you're doing. Join us. It is better this way. No fear, no pain, only purpose. That's not you talking, Hannah. Dahyun replied, not looking away from his work. The real you fought them. The real you tried to warn us. The compound is ready, the computer announced. Release it now, Jae-yun ordered, still struggling with the warcat. Dahyun hit the final command. The air vents in the ceiling hummed to life, releasing a fine mist into the room. The compound would spread throughout the colony in minutes. It's too late, Hannah said. Our ship has arrived. More of us are coming. Your compound cannot stop us all. Dahyun looked at his sister. Maybe not, but it can free you. The mist filled the room. At first, nothing happened. Then Junho, who had been fighting with cold determination, let out a roar of anger. His attacks became fiercer, wilder. Yeonji began to laugh, a high, slightly hysterical sound. Jae-yun's face showed pure rage as she fought harder against the warcat holding her. The compound was working. It was amplifying their emotions. The warcats began to move strangely. Their perfect coordination faltered. They looked at each other in confusion, as if hearing conflicting orders. Hannah blinked rapidly. The green glow in her eyes flickered. She put her hands to her head and screamed. What's happening to her? Yeonji asked, still laughing between words. The human minds are fighting back, Dahyun explained. The emotional surge is breaking the warcat's control. Hannah fell to her knees, her body shaking. Woo Jin and the other controlled humans showed similar reactions. The warcats moved away from them, as if afraid of the emotions pouring out. We need to send the warning to Earth, Dahyun said. The compound is working here, but there's a warcat ship coming. Earth needs to know how to fight them. Go, Jae-yun ordered, finally breaking free from the warcat. Get to the quantum transmitter. We'll hold them here. Dahyun hesitated, looking at his sister still fighting the control. Go, Junho shouted, firing at more warcats entering the room. This is bigger than any of us now. Dahyun ran. He carried Hannah's data drive and the compound formula. The colony's quantum transmitter was in the main control tower, just 100 meters away. Outside, the air was filled with the compound now. Controlled humans staggered around, fighting invisible battles in their minds. Warcats moved erratically, their perfect silent hunting replaced by confusion. Dahyun reached the control tower and raced to the transmitter. He plugged in the data drive and began uploading everything. Hannah's research, the compound formula, videos of the warcats. The upload bar moved slowly. Come on, he muttered. A sound behind him. He turned. Hannah stood in the doorway. Blood trickled from her nose. Her eyes still glowed green, but the light was weaker now. Brother, she said, her voice shifting between her own and something alien. You cannot win. The hive cannot be defeated. Hannah, fight it, Dahyun pleaded. I know you're in there. She walked toward him, movements jerky and unnatural. The ship approaches. More come. Billions more. The upload was at 90%. So close. Hannah lunged at him. Dahyun dodged, unwilling to hurt his sister. If you send that message, they will destroy this world completely, Hannah warned, her voice now more alien than human. Then we'll fight them there too, Dahyun said. Humans don't give up. Hannah, remember that. The upload completed. The message was sent. Hannah screamed, a sound of rage and frustration that wasn't human at all. The warcat controlling her was furious. Dahyun looked out the window. In the sky above, a massive dark shape appeared. The warcat mothership. Earth was warned. the fight would continue. But now, humanity knew the enemy's weakness, and the Warcats would learn. You don't attack humans until it's too late.